Welcome everyone to another episode of the Will and Rock Podcast.
What up, everybody? Tonight is UFC on Fox 28, but before we get into the predictions, we're going to talk about a little bit of news that's been happening, right? So, first off, Edson Barboza versus Kevin Lee, they're headlining UFC Fight Night 128 in Atlantic City, which I think is very interesting.
That is, first of all, that's a really good fight for both fighters. Barboza just came off a loss to, didn't Barboza just lose to Khabib?
That's correct.
So, and then Kevin Lee lost to Kevin Ferguson as well.
Which is the perfect match to make. I mean, this is by far the best match to make. We're talking about two contenders for the belt that are fighting, Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. And both of these fighters that we're talking about right now, Edson Barboza and Kevin Lee, are coming from a loss from both of these fighters. So it completely makes sense for you to book that fight.
And that's going to be such a great fight. It's going to be such a freaking great fight. It's going to be really fast-paced. You got someone like Edson Barboza, who does a phenomenal job on his feet.
Yeah.
But he can submit you, like there's no tomorrow. And then you got someone like Kevin Lee, who's so well grounded, who's just overall such a great fighter.
I agree.
So it's gonna make for a freaking entertaining fight.
And it's really big for Kevin Lee, because Kevin Lee right now, coming from a loss from Tony Ferguson. He's the new guy. He speaks well. He looks great. He dresses well. It's gonna be easy to promote him, but he needs to get some wins under his belt. He needs this win more than Barboza. That's what I believe, and we'll talk about it. Who's gonna win next time we do the podcast?
But of course, but also to take into consideration is there's proven facts that Kevin Lee didn't go into the Tony Ferguson fight 100%.
Would he come 100%? If he would have come in 100%, do you think he still would have been Tony Ferguson? It's gonna
I'm not
probably a better competition match.
Yeah. Sure. But
it was a known fact that he had a staph infection. Right?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, what is Kevin Lee at 100%?
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. Hopefully he gets 100% versus Barboza. So what was the next news?
The next one. So Nunes is targeted to defend her title versus Raquel Pennington at UFC 224. So
I will tell you, I do not see nobody beating Nunes in that weight class besides Shevchenko.
But mind you, she already fought her twice, and she beat her twice.
Yeah, but the last fight they fought was too close to call. And I had Shevchenko winning that fight. So with that being said, the fight to make, and I think the reason why they were forced to put this fight up is because Cyborg ended up saving UFC 222.
Right.
So they pretty much had to force Pennington. I don't think Rachel is, to me at least, not a championship caliber type of fighter.
At least not yet.
At least not yet. That's a good point. At least not yet. But they're throwing her in the wolves, man. This is a tough fight for Rachel. Yeah. I don't see her getting off the first round.
I think it's going to go to decision, personally. I think it's going to go to decision. I think Pennington is going to hold her ground, but I think Amanda Nunes brings way too many different arsenals to the fight. I don't see it. I don't see how Rachel has a chance, but I do see it going to decision.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's that. The next one, which I'm very excited for, is Sosa versus Gastelum. It's officially been booked. Also for UFC 224, it's gonna happen in Rio. This fight, I'm looking forward to it a lot. I think you and I have spoken about this before, that Jacare Sosa, we don't see anybody beating him the way he defeated. Who did he fight last?
Holy crap! I had a brain fart.
Yeah, so did I. But anyways, the performance that he put up was a tremendous performance. I don't see him losing going forward. I don't know. What do you think?
So first of all, I every time I start talking about that weight class, I always talk about everybody except Kelvin. This is a guy who's taking big fights. Yeah, I always forget to mention his name.
That's very true.
This is a great fight for both fighters. I really believe that Sosa is gonna win that belt. He's gonna be a championship fighter, or he's gonna be a champion, I should say, in that weight class without a doubt. I don't see no one beating Sosa if Sosa's at 100%.
I agree with you. Kevin Gastelum is coming out of a big knockout with
Michael Bisping. Now, Michael Bisping was at 100%, but this fight just makes sense. Yeah. It makes sense for both fighters. You get the young guy coming in as versus the more seasoned fighter.
I agree.
So this is gonna make for a great main event. What is it headlining actually?
So it's headlining in Rio, actually. UFC 224, which is the same card as Nunes versus Pennington, which completely makes sense. These Brazilian fighters.
Is that a co-main event?
Nobody's...
Shit, think about that, man. If that's not the co-main event, what is? Or
that's a good fight. I don't think that should co-main event. I think Nunes versus Pennington should co-main event that fight. They should go up the third, and they should really give us a really good fight. You know what's actually probably not a bad idea to headline, because I hear these rumors too. This is also breaking news. Machida versus Vitor Belfort.
This should not headline.
But you gotta remember, it's two Brazilians. Should they not? Yeah, but the name that they bring to the tape to this card in Brazil, it completely makes sense.
No, man. I disagree with that. I think Vitor Belfort just doesn't deserve. He just doesn't deserve a main event. If you give a main event, it has to be a UFC fight night. It has to be a UFC on Fox to put them against each other. You don't want to take a UFC card and put those two fighters up there. I'm not taking away from Machida's last victory, but Vitor Belfort's been out the game for too long, and Machida hasn't proved that he deserves
his caliber, right?
Yeah, deserves to be with the young guys.
And it's a pay-per-view event.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I guess I can see your point. Anyways, so that's all the predictions. One last thing, McGregor said that he wanted to fight asked to fight Frankie Edgar because Max Holloway got injured. I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah,
right? I don't know about you. Yeah, you're not happy as well. So I'm not happy. I mean, I'm glad it didn't happen because McGregor needs a bigger name. He needs a bigger name. I don't see. And no disrespect to Frankie Edgar. I just don't see Frankie Edgar putting people in their asses in seats. You know what I'm saying? With that being said, he's fighting McGregor, so he probably would have, and he would have probably shown, Frankie Edgar would have shown why he's the answer. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so that's not the reason why I feel like this fight. I also feel the same way as you, that I feel like this fight should have not happened, and the UFC was actually smart to pull him away. I don't think it had anything to do with what you just mentioned, because Frankie has beaten the ringers, man. He's beaten the best fighters in that division.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with what I'm saying.
No, I get it. I don't think that they had enough time to build this card with McGregor in it. That's my reasoning behind it. He's such a big, huge name. He is the biggest name in mixed martial arts. You can't give him a last-minute fight. You cannot give him a last-minute fight. It needs to build this pay-per-view with him, whether it's with Frankie. I'm not saying he shouldn't fight Frankie. It all depends on Max Holloway, how long he's going to be out for.
Right.
So with that being said, I really feel like they did not have enough time to build up this card.
Yeah.
So which is why I feel the UFC pulled off. They said, screw this. We can make $1 billion out of this fight, but we're only going to make millions because we're not going to be able to promote it in such a in a good amount of time.
That's a very good point. No, promotion is everything, and a guy like McGregor, who kind of owns the fighting in general, both boxing and fucking MMA, deserves more attention. Deserves more spotlight on the fight.
Absolutely.
And you're right. You're completely right. He should have a couple of months to really advertise this fight. Oh, they should have advertised this fight, right?
Let's get into this.
Word up. Let's get directly into this UFC on Fox 28. It's a tremendous card on Fox. I really like it. I'm not too happy with who's going to be headlining it necessarily. I don't think they should headline. Those two guys should headline. But I believe it's a great card to begin with, all right? Let's start with the first one. So we're going to be giving our predictions now. We have Mike Perry fighting Max Griffin.
Who you got, Will?
I'm going to go with Platinum Perry. I believe that he will get it done. I believe that he's going to knock out Max Griffin. Max Griffin, nothing bad to say about Max Griffin. He's a tremendous fighter. I think he has really good hands, and he lets him go pretty well, but I don't think that he could last with Mike Perry past the first round.
All right,
and Mike Perry really needs this.
Yeah, okay.
Really needs this.
So I'm with you. I'm with you in the sense that Mike Perry really needs this. Okay. I think he got exposed on his last fight. He did not fight to his caliber. He ended up losing that fight. because he got winded.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a game plan to beat Mike Perry. Mike Perry was becoming a big name. He was beating big names, and there was a lot of noise behind him. I feel like the last fight that he fought, he got exposed.
Yeah.
So I'm going with the other guy. I don't think Perry is gonna end up winning this fight.
All right.
My personal opinion, and it will be go down to decision.
That's a good pick. Like I said, so I got Mike Perry and you got Max Griffin. All right. The next fight is we got OSP. He's fighting versus Latifi. A really good fight, if you ask me. One of the best fights in the card.
I go on this one, right?
Yeah, go for it, buddy. Sorry.
Well, I got OSP just because I feel like he's the more veteran guy. He's also, once again, I don't want to talk about the same thing over and over. He's being the bigger names. He is the bigger name coming into this fight. Not to take anything away from Latifi, but OSP is one good victory away from either getting that main event on a pay-per-view event, or sitting right behind on that co-main event. So he's the truth, man. He's the truth. He has a way of freaking his size. It's going to be bigger than Latifi's. He has better wrestling than he does. My only concern going into this fight for OSP is the power of Latifi's hands, bro.
I agree.
He is a heavy puncher. But for that reason, I got OSP.
Exactly what you said. It was pretty much what I was going to say. I also have OSP. I don't see him losing this fight. I think he's going to show why he's the top-notch ranked fighter in that division, and he will take out Latifi. What round, I don't know, but I believe that he's going to get it done. All right? So we both picked OSP. The next one is Jessica Andrade versus Tessia Torres. Another great fight. I believe Jessica Andrade is going to get it done. I think she has a lot more arsenal in her game. She's not only going to win, but let's say she wins by decision. I was going to go further in, maybe a submission, but I'm going to say she beats her by decision. I'm
contradicting you.
Right.
I'm contradicting you, and just to do it. I thought Jessica Andre is gonna win this fight, but just to go against you and make this a little bit more entertaining, I'm going against you. So I'm going Tessia Torres. Yeah.
Cool.
And not to sleep on Tessia.
No, not at all. But I feel like Jessica has her card.
I'm gonna go against you, bro.
So the last but not least, the main card of this fight card is Josh Emmett versus Jeremy Stephens.
All right, so I'm gonna put my 2 cents into this. I think this fight is gonna be really freaking close, man. Yeah. They're both one punch away, and there's some fighters that you could say that about, but these two are known. They're knockout artists, man. And they're knockout artists not just with their right hands, but you got Stephens' highlights with knees, and Emmett's disgusting ass left punches. Going Stephens on this fight. There's no way in hell this fight is going into the third round or fifth round because it's the main event. I swear I got Stephens first or second round TKO, man.
So Emmett missed his weight the last fight when he fought Ricardo Lamas. He knocks the bejesus out of him in the first round.
I know. I remember we were talking about that fight. We were like, "There's no way Lamas is going to lose the fight."
Yeah, and then he gets knocked out. But keep in mind, it was a last-minute fight. Lamas didn't have anybody to replace him. They got a guy like Josh Emmett fighting out of the Alpha Male, right? With that being said, I believe that Josh Emmett, with that power that he has, not taking anything away from Jeremy Stephens, because he also has a lot of power. Josh Emmett is something special to watch. I think he's the new breed on the UFC. I believe he gets it done and by KO, because it's not going to go past the third round.
Not this fight, man. Not this fight. That's not. Listen, I think it's a good pick either way.
Yeah, I do.
It's one of those toss-ups for me because there's in their own way they're very similar.
I
fighters,
think that Jeremy Stephens needs to come in and show him why he's the experienced fighter. If he decides to bang with him, I think it's going to be a short night for Jeremy Stephens.
Oh, so we're going against.
Yeah, so I got Emmett and you got Stephens. That is correct.
All right, we're all set, man.
It's a wrap. Peace.
Have a good one, guys.